Right now, in the high heat of July, a silent mistake is happening in gardens all across the America. You walk out with your hand pruners, intending to clean up your spent flowers, but with just a few wrong cuts, you might be accidentally killing your favorite perennials or shutting down their blooms for the rest of the year. This is the critical midsummer window where a single pruning error can cost you next spring's entire floral display. The summer sun is relentless, and your plants are already stressed. Pruning in July is not about shaping or tidying up, it is a surgical intervention. If you time it perfectly, you will kickstart a second flush of gorgeous, vibrant color that carries you straight into autumn. But if you make the common mistakes we are covering today, you risk rotting the crowns of your plants, exposing fresh wounds to sunburn or leaving them woody and barren. Before you make another cut, there is one specific, misunderstood perennial that is likely sitting in your garden right now, waiting for a trim that could either save it or destroy it. Plant number 1 is peonies. While these lush spring queens are done blooming, July is where gardeners make a critical error by leaving dry, leathery brown flower heads sitting on the stems. When you do this, the peony wastes precious energy trying to create seed pods, which starves next spring's root development. Old flower heads also trap summer rain, breeding gray mold that can ruin the entire foliage. The biology is simple. Peonies rely on post-bloom leaves to build starch reserves in their thick roots. To prune correctly, follow the spent flower stem down and snip it off cleanly, just above the first set of healthy green leaves, leaving the rest of the leafy bush completely untouched to feed the plant. This single cut keeps the shrub looking green and tidy all summer, ensuring massive dinner plate-sized blooms next spring. Plant number 2 is daylilies. These tough summer classics bring beautiful color, but by July, their tall flower stalks turn into bare, dry, yellowing sticks that look incredibly messy. The big mistake is ignoring these dead stalks and letting them stand in the grassy foliage. Stagnant moisture on these old stalks collects rust spores and stalls new leaf growth from the base. You see, once the daylily finishes blooming, the vascular flow stops, turning the stem into rotting wood. To prune correctly, slide your hand to the very base of the spent flower stalk and make a clean, flush cut near the soil level, hidden within the leaves. This signals the crown to focus its energy on fresh green growth, keeping repeat bloomers active and leaving you with a pristine, compact mound of elegant green foliage. Plant number 3 is black-eyed Susan. Gardeners love these golden pollinator magnets, but as early blooms fade and turn black, many make the mistake of snipping only the flower head, leaving naked, blackened poles pointing at the sky. This halts secondary blooms and looks terrible. Black-eyed Susans have strong apical dominance. To trigger new buds, you must cut further down. Trace the spent flower stem down and cut it cleanly just above a healthy leaf node where you see a tiny green bud emerging. This selective pruning redirects all the plant's energy into these lateral side shoots, extending your yellow blooming season by 4 to 6 weeks. Within days, you will have a bushy, upright perennial packed with fresh golden yellow buds ready to open for late-season butterflies. Number 4 is bee balm. This native favorite brings vibrant red and purple firework-like blooms, but by late July, it is highly prone to a devastating white coating of powdery mildew. The biggest mistake is being too timid with your shears, leaving dry, graying, infected stems standing in your beds. This allows fungal spores to multiply and ruin nearby plants. Bee balm is in the mint family and loves a hard haircut. Do not be afraid to shear the entire leggy plant back by 1/3 to 1/2, cutting just above a set of healthy, clean leaves. This hard chop removes the fungal pressure, maximizes airflow, and encourages fresh new shoots to emerge from the root system. Within weeks, you will be rewarded with a tight, clean, healthy green mound completely free of disease. Plant number 5 is yarrow. Prized for its feathery, drought-tolerant foliage and flat flower plates, yarrow looks fantastic in early summer. But by July, those vibrant plates turn into dry, dusty brown cardboard, causing the plant to split open and flop. The mistake is leaving these brown flower heads on the stems. This forces the plant to waste massive energy-producing seed, which exhausts the roots. To prune yarrow correctly, use hand shears to cut spent flower heads back to a healthy node of fresh, fern-like leaves, shaping it into a neat dome. This simple trim halts seed production, redirecting starches down to strengthen the roots. Within 2 to 3 weeks, your yarrow will return with a dense, compact carpet of feathery green leaves and a second flush of bright, vibrant flower plates. Plant number 6 is hostas. While famous for their lush shade foliage, by July, the outer leaves of hosta mounds often look yellow, sun-scorched, or shredded by slugs. The mistake is letting these damaged leaves rot at the base. Stressed leaves emit chemical signals that attract more slugs and earwigs, turning your hosta into a pest hotel. To clean them up, reach deep to the base of the plant, grab the stem of the yellowing or damaged leaf, and cut it off cleanly right at the crown. Be sure to cut off those dry, spent purple flower stalks too. This simple pruning reduces slug breeding grounds by 80%, allows fresh air to circulate, and leaves you with an immaculate, pristine shade specimen that looks symmetrical and fresh. Plant number 7 is tall garden phlox. These towering midsummer beacons fill the garden with color, but letting spent clusters go to seed is a huge mistake. Not only does it exhaust the plant, but phlox drops wild seeds that revert to ugly magenta colors, ruining your parent clump. Tall phlox has secondary flower buds sitting in the leaf joints right below the primary bloom head, waiting to grow. To prune correctly, cut off the spent flower head precisely 1/4 inch above the first set of healthy, green leaves below the blossom cluster. This breaks apical dominance and instantly triggers the lower side buds to mature, rewarding you with a gorgeous secondary wave of vibrant pink or white blooms that sense the late summer air. Plant number 8 is the lavender. Prized for its soothing scent, lavender often becomes woody, leggy, and splits open in winter. The biggest mistake is pruning too deep and cutting directly into the old, gray, woody branches at the base of the crown. Lavender lacks latent buds and mature bark, meaning below-wood cuts will kill those branches permanently, leaving an ugly bald gap. To prune lavender correctly in July, wait until flowers fade, then shear the entire plant back by about 1/3, keeping your cuts strictly inside the green, leafy stem growth. This light trim forces the active green stems to branch out, shaping the plant into a tight, neat dome that resists winter splitting and doubles your bloom count next spring. Pruning your perennials in July is not just about making things look clean. It is about understanding the science of how each plant grows. By making these 9 targeted cuts, you protect your garden from summer rot, prevent leggy woodiness, and unlock a spectacular second season of blooms. Which of your summer perennials is looking a bit tired and floppy right now, and are you going to brave a hard chop this week? Let me know down in the comments below. I'm so incredibly grateful you spent some of your day out here in the garden with me today. If you enjoyed these pruning tips, giving this video a quick thumbs up and subscribing to the channel helps me out more than you know. Every single week, we'll keep sharing real, practical tricks to keep your landscape thriving.